It is now my great privilege to introduce to you an extraordinary woman, your commencement speaker, one of the fastest women on earth, speed skater Erin Jackson. Erin is an Olympic gold medalist, a history maker, and a gator. Her story shows the type of grit, adaptability, and steadfastness our graduates should be known for. She won the women's 500-meter race in the 2022 Olympics in Beijing, becoming the first American to win that race since 1994. And Erin is the first Black American woman in history to win a Winter Olympic gold medal in any individual sport. Erin's time was 37.04 seconds. For those of you doing math, that's skating about 44 feet per second, about the length of a school bus every second. She can move. Even though Florida's a bit of an ice challenge state, Erin used her skates to get from Ocala to Beijing. I'll let her share with you all the details, but suffice it to say for now, she grew up a little girl who loved to roller skate because there wasn't a lot of ice skating options for her. She moved on to inline skating phenom, to the rocket she is now, who has shot past some of the world's record-holding speed skaters. Erin has another very special, valuable, and highly competitive human quality, though. She graduated from UF with honors in 2015 with a bachelor's degree in material science and engineering. The lady has brawn, speed, and a big brain. Her undergraduate research focused on the fracture mechanics of dental ceramics, and I don't have any idea what that means. Erin is a local hero who became a global champion. She's an engineer, she's a history maker, she's a great Gator athlete, and she's a great Gator scholar. In a minute, we're going to watch a brief video on her story, but first, please join me in welcoming Gator and Olympic gold medalist Erin Jackson back to UF and back to the swamp.
Made today at the Olympic Games in Beijing, speed skater Erin Jackson.
I started out just as a roller skater, and I ended up going to the Olympics.
You can't tell if she's got wheels or blades on. It looks so natural for her.
Team USA's Erin Jackson won gold in the 500-meter speed skating event in Beijing this week. She is the first Black woman ever to win Olympic gold in speed skating and the first American to win the race since 1994. The 29-year-old picked up the sport just 5 years ago, people.
She capitalized on it to the maximum. The gold medal to Erin Jackson.
What a winner. We're so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And just 8 short years ago, I sat in a chair much like the one you're all sitting in today at my own UF graduation ceremony. But never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I'd be invited back here, to stand on this stage and deliver the commencement speech for a future class, for you. And today, I'd like to share how that happened, how I came to be standing on this stage right now, and a few of the things that I learned along the way. Now, I'm originally from just down the road. My story begins under the hot, humid Ocala sun. Is anyone else from Ocala? I heard a few shouts. Awesome. If you know anything about Ocala, then you probably know that it's a bit famous for horses. But one thing that you might not know is that Ocala is also a little famous for roller skating. And that's where I got my start. I grew up, racing around wheels for most of my childhood. And if you check out the screen, there's a picture of me as a little kid. And behind me are 2 members of the USA roller speed skating team. So the woman on the left is Brittany Bowe, and then standing next to her is Joey Mantilla. Brittany, Joey, and I are all from Ocala. We all had the same coach. We all grew up skating and training together. And actually, the three of us all won speed skating medals at the last Winter Olympics. So, thank you. So imagine that, a hotbed for American speed skating in Central Florida, of all places, right? So remember the name Brittany Bowe. She was my idol at the time, a few years older than me. But she comes back into my story a few years later, but in a very significant way. Now, when I was a kid, my mom had dreams of me representing this great country in competition. Though for her, it had nothing to do with sports. You see, I was a beauty pageant kid. And my mom had visions of me someday becoming Miss America. So you can see here a few pictures of me in all my pageant glory. Now, I'm sorry to share that my mom passed away when I was in high school, but not before instilling in me a strong belief in myself. It was an enormously difficult time, but I know now that it taught me to pick myself back up when life knocks you down. And there's no greater lesson in perspective than losing a loved one, because you very quickly and very clearly understand the things in life that matter the most. So once I retired from my beauty pageant pursuits, I put all of my extracurricular energies into skating. And I began to race around the world doing what I love to do, and I even went on to become a world champion. And now I'm sure my mom would have been proud. There's a picture up there of me inline skating. The problem was that was the end of the road for roller skating, which is not an Olympic sport. But, I dreamed of more. I dreamed of Olympic gold. Now, there had been other former roller skaters who had switched over to ice skating in the past, and they had success. So I decided to see if I also had what it takes. And let me tell you, I did not, at least not at first. So if you picture little baby Bambi from the movies, just a few minutes after being born, right? But this time, picture her wearing ice skates and trying to stand up. Now, Bambi would have actually made me look bad, right? To say my first few steps on ice were impressive would be like saying FSU is the best school in Florida, right? So it was pretty bad, as you can see from the video up here. Yeah, not great. But as I said before, the loss of my mom taught me to pick myself back up. So I kept at it, day after day after day, because I had a big goal to someday make it to the Olympics. But I knew the only way to make that faraway dream a reality was to put my focus on each single day, on each small step along that way. So graduates, small steps. Small steps will get you to big dreams. Now, slowly, I began to work my way up through the ranks, grinding out small steps of progress, all the way until the fall of 2022, when suddenly I had become #1 in the world. I was now winning competitions against the best of the best, and my dream of a gold medal no longer seemed so far-fetched. So in January of 2022, I competed in the US Olympic speed skating trials. Now, as that name suggests, that was the competition that would decide the team for the 2022 Olympic Games, and then that team would go on to compete in Beijing. Now, my main event was the 500 meters, and that's the shortest of all the speed skating events. Now, because this race is so short, then that means if you make a mistake, there's just no time to make up for that error. And on top of that, the competition is so strong that oftentimes the margin of victory is 1/10 of a second, and sometimes even hundredths or thousandths of a second. So literally just the blink of an eye. You basically need to be just about perfect to win. Now, at this race, I start off my first 100 meters down the straightaway. That's called the opener. And my opener was pretty solid. I was feeling confident. Then I entered the first turn of the race, still feeling good. That's my favorite part when I'm building speed, really getting myself going. And then as I came out of the turn and began to skate down the backstretch, I was still feeling confident, still feeling ready. But then suddenly, I slipped. And it's possible that maybe the smallest bit of ice had broken away under my blade, or I don't know. I'm still not quite sure what happened. But I kind of flailed my arms to try to catch my balance, and it all happened so fast, and then I got back to skating. But the damage had already been done. In a race that rewards micro fractions of a second, there was no place to make up for all this precious lost time. So I finished third, and that was one spot away from making the team. I was out. My Olympic dream was over. If I wanted another shot at this, I would have to wait for 2026. Now, at this point, the rink was buzzing, people were shocked, and in fact, news spread around the world almost instantly, which is kind of the case now with our social media crazed world. But if you remember, as I mentioned earlier, Brittany Bowe, she was my friend and teammate from Ocala. And Brittany had preceded me in switching from roller skating to ice speed skating by a few years. And by this time, she was a longtime veteran on the US speed skating team. Now, if you ever want to learn a lesson about selflessness, a lesson about leadership, a lesson about being a good teammate, then I'll suggest you take a good look at Brittany. You see, Brittany was one of the 2 women who had beaten me that day. And she had earned one of those 2 coveted Olympic team spots for the 500-meter event. But after I had failed to make the team and my head was still spinning, Brittany came up to me and she said, "Erin, you deserve to go to the Olympics. This one slip, this one mistake shouldn't negate your entire season of success, your entire season of winning." So she said, "You're our best shot at winning a medal in the 500 for Team USA." So what Brittany did is she went to the race officials and she declined her spot on the team. And by doing so, that moves me into the number 2 spot. And most importantly, it put me on the Olympic team. So what kind of person does that, right? Thank you. So that kind of person is Brittany Bowe. And to say it was an emotional roller coaster of a day for me would be the biggest understatement of my life. And for those of you who believe in karma, you'll be happy to know that Brittany went on to qualify for the Olympic team in other distances, and she even went on to win an Olympic bronze medal of her own. So graduates, thank you. Graduates, I hope that you'll strive to associate yourselves with your own Brittany Bowes, with your own great people, the best people you can be around. Now, a few weeks after the trials, I went to the starting line at the Olympic Games. And on that day, there would be no slips, there would be no stumbles. I had the race of my life. I had the race I had been training for all those years, the race that I had dreamed of when I left the comfort of Florida to take a chance on the ice. And when it was all over, they gave me this. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll end with this. There are a lot of reasons why I believe this medal happened, but here are the big ones. It happened because I was willing to take a chance on myself, to take a risk, to leave the comfort and familiarity of roller skating to get uncomfortable on the ice. As you leave here today, be willing to take a chance on yourself. Be willing to get uncomfortable. Be willing to fall down. But most importantly, be willing to get back up. And if you be willing to get back up over and over and over again sometimes. And this also happened because I was willing to look for opportunities in unusual places. Of course, I'm incredibly proud to have won this medal, but I'm also proud to have become the first Black woman in history to win an individual event gold medal at the Olympic Winter Games. Thank you. Thank you. So as you leave here today, I hope you'll also keep an eye out for opportunities in unusual places. And I also think this happened because I was able to surround myself with good people, amazing people who believed in me as much as I believed in myself. If you also surround yourself with good people, they can help pave the pathway to your dreams. And finally, I believe it happened because I was willing to dream big and execute small. So today, we celebrate your great accomplishment, your graduation. And while we celebrate, it's also a time to dream of what's next. And I hope you'll dream big. So tonight, when your head is on the pillow, when it's quiet and it's just you and your thoughts, that is the time to dream of what you want, of what you believe you're capable of what you believe is inside of you. And I'll tell you this, if your dream doesn't scare you at least a little bit, then you're probably not dreaming big enough. Now, when you wake up in the morning, that is the time to execute. That is the time to figure out what you need to do that day and that day only to take one tiny step toward whatever it was that you dreamed of the night before. So dream big, execute small. Break it down into what needs to happen right now in tiny, bite-sized pieces to take one step, one stride toward that goal. Dream big, execute small. If you do that over and over and over again, I believe it will lead you to your own golden moment. So thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2023. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.